So after I drafted my first team in the last video, which is absolutely amazing by the way, I just want to thank everyone who subscribed, liked and commented on that video. It got me thinking, is it possible to have a decent enough team when I have the best 3 premium midfielders in the game? Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to any other midfielders that play football, that are in fantasy, not that they'll see this video or anything, but I just don't want to sound disrespectful, especially when we've got people like Mane, Sterling, Son, who can also be counted as premium midfielders. But if we're talking about individual talent and the points that certain players offer, everyone knows that Salah, De Bruyne and Fernandes are the best players for that, especially if we're talking about recent seasons, especially last season when Bruno finished top with 244 points. Salah wasn't far behind with 231. De Bruyne did get injured. He was out for like 4, 5, 6 weeks. He finished on 141. But, you know, seasons, he's been doing it consistently over the last couple of seasons. So, like I said, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but they are the 3 players that this video is going to be based on. And another reason being is because they are the 3 most expensive midfielders. Obviously, Mane is joint with Fernandes and De Bruyne, which I just don't understand. If you haven't watched my videos on that, go check them out. Then you'll understand a lot more when I talk about players in this video. But we've got De Bruyne coming at 12 million, Fernandes coming at 12 million, and Salah coming at 12.5 million. Who is the joint most expensive player this season with Harry Kane, who's also 12.5. But I've got them 3 to build a team around in this video. And it's not a team where I've just chucked in a bunch of 4.5 million players that people do. The people do that. They actually do. You'll be surprised. A number of people do that. They don't care about getting points for the long run and whatnot. But I've built a team here where I've got a very, very good attack and a good enough defense with a decent bench. Now, obviously, if you're going to have 3 of the most expensive players in the game, you can't expect too much. You know, you'll probably look at this team and think it can be a lot better, but in actual fact, they can't because of the midfield. So let's get straight into it. Enough waffling, enough rambling. I just want to get straight into this. I don't want to talk too much. You know, this video is not going to be based on fixtures too much because that's what my last 3 videos were about. So if you haven't watched them, go check those out because I'm probably not going to talk about fixtures a lot in this video. They will be on the screen for you guys to see right here. Like you can see, they're going to be on the right side of the screen. That's game week 1. Make yourself familiar if you're not already, and then I'll mention other fixtures here and there. But the formation I've gone with for the team is 4-3-3. Makes the most sense if you're going to have the most expensive midfield with De Bruyne, Salah and Bruno. You can't really have a 4 in the middle, 5 in the middle and still expect to have a good enough defense with a good enough bench, because it will be too hard to fit in. Because the midfield is this year expensive, man. You know, if we're looking at, I don't want to, you know, no disrespect to our midfielders, but, you know, you're looking at 6 million for El Ghazi. You know, you're looking at 5.5 million for Martinho. Why is that much? I'll never understand. And then you're looking at, you know, 7 million for Madison. You know, midfielders are very expensive. They're the pinnacle of people's fantasies. You know, people love to ball out on the midfield when they play fantasy. Something I've learned over the last couple of years. But, like, I don't need to hide the next 3 players. You know, De Bruyne, Fernandes and Salah are the midfield. They are the 3 in the middle. Their fixtures are on the screen if you want to see them. You know, Salah's got Norwich, Fernandes got Leeds. Tottenham has got De Bruyne. You know, the reason I don't say De Bruyne got Tottenham is because Tottenham have got De Bruyne to deal with, alright? That's how good he is. But, yeah, those are them 3 in the middle. Now, you're going to be thinking to yourself, with 36.5 million already spent on that midfield, how on God's earth is it possible to have a good enough team? And you're going to be asking yourself that question even more when I show you this attack. It blows more than half the budget. Budget? Well, I don't know what a budget is. Don't ask me what a budget is. But we've got Ivan Toney, 6.5 million. I hear Nacho and Watkins, who are 7.5 million a pop. You're going to be thinking I'm crazy. And there's no way I've got a good enough bench and defense to cover this team. Especially when I've only got 42 million left to spend. Point nothing. It's going to be hard. It was hard. Obviously, the team is already built. But I've got the team now. And with Tony in this team, a massively underrated player. I don't know if he's underrated, but, you know, if people are not talking about him enough, I'll be the first to say it. You know, with his unbelievable record in the championship, if I'm not mistaken, I know I'm very close anyway, I think he got like 41 appearances and 45 goals, something crazy like that. So he done numbers. I don't know if he got less goals. I think he was like 45 games, 41 goals maybe, but it was definitely in and around that range. That's unbelievable. And I don't know why more big teams haven't looked at him in the transfer market. because those numbers are crazy. Yes, you could say, but the championship is, they play more games than us. They play like 46, 45 games, and we only play 38. So their fitness levels must be absolutely insane, especially when you're a number one striker. You know, people rely on you to get the goals. For 6.5 million, you cannot knock this guy. Iheanacho and Watkins, I've mentioned many times. I've talked about them so many times in the last couple of videos. I don't want to repeat myself about them too much, but they are two strikers that people know the damage they can cause. You know, their TSB percentages say, oh, if you don't know what TSB percentage is, go watch my last video. I might be talking a bit too fast here, so let me calm down. I'm just excited about this team, man, because I did not think it was possible to make a good enough team and still have this midfield and this attack, man. These 6 players on the screen, don't underestimate any of them. Do not underestimate any of them, because they are 6 players that can cause damage. Now I'm going to show the whole defense and the goalkeeper at once. Lamptey, like I said in my last video as well, this guy was doing absolute numbers before he got injured last season. You know, he was doing things down that right-hand side that people thought no one would ever see him do. You know, coming from Chelsea, very young, very, very young. And he was one of their main players. When he got injured, he went downhill because they had to put in Dan Burn, bloody 7-foot monster, in that fullback on the left-hand side. Then they've got Sufal. Well, I've got Sufal, who's got Newcastle to start the season, 5 million, another player that had a great season. Luke Shaw, with the form he was in the Euros, unfortunately we lost in the finals, but with the form that this guy was in the Euros and the form that he was in towards the end of last season, you cannot knock him, especially for 5.5 million and the fixtures he has in the first 4 weeks. You cannot knock this guy. Fofana, another guy that had to come in for his team and do a job because one of their main centre-backs in Soyuncu got injured. He was playing alongside Johnny Evans. I think he even played out in fullback at certain points as well. But, you know, with James Justin coming back, he's still injured. We don't know when he's going to be back. But with the experience of Ricardo Pereira, with Castagna in there, with Johnny Evans in there, is Leicester going to stick with the fullback? Are they going to go with the 5-back? Is it going to be as easy for Fofana to get into the team this season as he was last season? Sanchez, a brilliant keeper. We all know what this guy can do as well. You know, finished the game last season on like 101 points or something like that. Came in for Matty Ryan, who went on loan to Arsenal. I don't even know who Brian's other keeper is, I'll be 100% honest with you guys. But Sanchez came in. It's really the first we saw of him for a full Premier League season. And, you know, he done his business. He is very, very good. I'm going to go into the bench now. Now, this is the best part of the team because I've still got about 18 million to play with. Now, you're going to be thinking, with 18 million, how in God's earth have I got a good enough defence and still have a good bench? I've got Ben Foster in goal, Watford keeper. Obviously, we don't know 100% if this guy's going to get minutes, but for 4 million, it's pretty much a no-brainer. You know, out of all the 4 million keepers, he has the most chance of playing, in my opinion. I'm going to go straight to Basuma and Omo Bamidele. Now, I'm just going to call him Omo because his name is incredibly hard to say, but he is a Norwich centre-back. Now, I've done my research on specifically this guy for 4 million defender because obviously Norwich, newly promoted, haven't really heard of him. But I think he came into the Norwich team around the 2nd of April because Norwich had some injury complications at the back. And this guy came in. He's definitely a first-team centre-back. He was for a large majority of last season. And, you know, Norwich, obviously, they got promoted, so he must have done a good job, you know. For 4 million, I wouldn't have looked anywhere else. You know, I've done my research, and this guy is definitely at the top of the list. Basuma, as a CDM, you can't really rely on him too much for points, but for 4.5 million as a backup midfielder, you can't really argue with it. Especially with the midfield you've got in the starting 11, will you really need a backup midfielder? So for 4.5 million, yes, he's a DM, but Brighton have some decent fixtures, and, you know, if he does randomly get a goal or assist here and there, it will be a very good backup sub. Now, the priority sub, and the reason I've left him for last, is because this is a player that had a very good season last season. He ended the fantasy season on 171 points. You know, if you're looking at it mathematically and technically, that's not far behind the likes of Bruno, who finished at the top with 244. That's definitely not far behind. I mean, it's more than De Bruyne. Obviously, he got injured, so you can't really compare it like that. But, you know, for him to still be above De Bruyne is a massive, massive thing. And, you know, Salah with 231, definitely there's like 60 points in it. So, I mean, he's a very good player to have. You can't, with the things that I just said and the points that I gave, can you really argue against it? For 4.5 million as well, I mean, Leeds have got some harder fixtures starting the season, but after the first 4 weeks, I mean, I know you don't want to look that much into the future, because obviously you're going to want to make some changes every week, if not every 2 weeks, with your free 2 transfers. But after his first 4 weeks, he's got a very, very good set of fixtures. So even if you don't have him in as your backup sub for the first 4 weeks, and you're still going to stick with this midfield, you can definitely have him in for the couple weeks after that. Maybe even include him in your team. You know, drop to a 2 up front, save some money for a backup defender or a backup sub. Actually, you know, let's get onto that point now. I said I'm going to get onto it, so this is where I'm going to get onto it. This team totals 100 million exactly. That's the whole budget blown. Now, if Ben Foster doesn't play, if Omo Bamidele doesn't play, you've only got 2 subs now, and one of them is a DM. You know, Dallas is more of a left wing back as well, so is he going to really be in and around the box this season? You can't really be 100% with it. You know, if Fofana doesn't get his game time, if Lamptey is not back for the start of the season, you're pretty much screwed, and you're going to have to replace a couple players, not just 1 or 2, in order to get a good enough, you know, to get that good bench back and get a good back line. So this is where I wanted to talk about money and saving money. The reason why I wouldn't really recommend this team, because like I said, this is not going to be my personal team, because I like to save money, and this is where I'm getting onto it now. With an attack like that and a midfield like that, if you're going to go with that midfield, you cannot have that attack, in my opinion. This is just a team that I've drafted and shown that it's possible to have a good team. I feel like you need to either take out Iheanacho or Watkins and put in like a Troy Deeney, save that 2 million in case you can't find, or in case 2 or more players in your whole 15-man team don't play, because you're going to want to replace them. You know, if Fofana doesn't play, you're going to want to replace him, or you're going to want to put him on the bench, replace Basuma, get in a better midfielder who will play. You know, you want to have money left over. You don't want to risk losing too many points, especially when there's no need to do so. That's definitely a mistake I made last season. It's definitely a big reason why I didn't finish first in some of my leagues. So yeah, personally, I wouldn't recommend this team. But it is a team that, if I had a gun to my head, I would take this team into fantasy going into the first couple of weeks, because it's definitely good enough. But it's a massive risk. 4.5 million players are always risks. You know, when you look at 4.5 million forwards, they more or less never play. If you look at 4.5 million defenders, they can either be a massive, massive bargain, or they can be the biggest miss of your life. And also with keepers. Because, you know, you're looking at Ben Foster, 4 million as your backup keeper. If Sanchez gets suspended or gets injured, Ben Foster might never play, and you're getting no points from keepers. And keepers have some of the most important points. You know, from clean sheets, from saving penalties, from, I think they get like 2 points from saving 6 shots or something like that. It's very important to have money left over, or important to have players that you can rotate easily. You won't find it too easy to rotate players like Omo Bamidele and Basuma, because, you know, if there's not many other because it was very hard to find 4.5 million players that even in a starting 11, let alone come off the bench. So it's going to be very hard to replace a 4.5 million player. So, you know, in my opinion, I showed you my first draft. I showed you how good the bench was and how good the defense was. You know, I've got a lot of rotation there. I've got more than enough space for at least 3 players not to play, because I believe my bench is that good, or that decent anyway. Definitely players who can come on and cause damage. But yeah, that's the team. I might have just spent my time here waffling. You guys might think I'm chatting absolute shit, but, you know, that's your opinion. Comment down below if you agree with this team, if you think that there's any bits of rotation that I can include. You know, taking out some players, saving 0.5, and you saving 1 million. You guys let me know down in the comments below. You know, that's what you guys are here for. That's what you guys are watching for. You guys are here to criticize me. You know, I take constructive criticism, if I can even say it. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. I'm 50 away. Like I said, support on this channel recently, just from uploading fantasy alone, has been absolutely immense. So I'm 50 subscribers away now from 1,000. And like I said, when I do hit 1,000, I'm going to be doing a kit giveaway of your choice. So don't be missing out on that. You know, click the little bell as well when you subscribe, so you get notified when I do upload a new video. Interact in my videos. You know, I like to know what you guys think. But yeah, that's enough from me. Don't want to waste any more of your time. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that may be.